There's this really great, cool book, and I'll just pop it up for you here. The Temple Legend by Steiner, where he goes back to the Temple of Solomon. And one is like the one side is to give glory to God, right? The reintegration. And then the other is to create sort of a false world and a false kingdom. And this goes back to the garden as well, right? Where Steiner says that Cain was actually the offspring of an Elohim and Eve. So that Cain was sort of a half angel, and Abel for his part was the son of Adam.
Mm.
And so with these two brothers, right? These two brothers. One lived in the service of the Lord, and the other lived in the service of power and the self. And I think that's where Steiner will characterize them as a rebellious spirit versus a cooperating, obedient spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a good answer? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so obviously the whoever wants the wealth and the power and the medical control and on and on and on are on the left-hand side because they only see the world through the lens of their own power.
Yeah, we're going to get into the historical aspects here in a second with these secret societies. But I want people to understand kind of Steiner's basis in what he viewed, like, because intentions are important when you have something like this, whether you're guarding a spiritual and then allowing initiations to come through to allow people to be able to receive that wisdom, and I don't want to use the word earn, but that's kind of the idea, compared to trying to get into a society so that we can, get together secretly and progress some harmonic, force, moving that force into power, like you said, mental control, whatever it may be.
Yeah. And I think that boils right down to what you just said, the desire, getting together with your cronies to create, to propagate your own faction's desire for power in order to hijack the world and claim your own kingdom, or to acquiesce to the grand plan of the divine, and everything you do is for the purpose of the kingdom. You mentioned the Rosicrucians, and we know that they amassed a lot of gold. In their laws, the gold would always, the wealth would always be used for the betterment of the spirit. The King of France, who basically put a hit job out on them, that gold was to massively, enlarge his own wealth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Steiner argued that spiritual impulses, not just material causes, drive historical events. And through these secret brotherhoods, this is in Cosmic Memory, how does this perspective challenge conventional histories of like the Renaissance or the Industrial Age? And what evidence do they offer?
Well, the Renaissance is kind of the beginning of what we call the modern world, right?